Why, hello there, everyone. It is a Sunday spectacular. It is just about to be October 30th, Sunday. We're going to talk about the picks from yesterday, from Saturday, and we're going to talk about NBA. We're going to talk about hockey, NHL. We're going to talk about football, week 8 as well, to finish up the video. A lot to discuss. So, first day of tracking in-game cash out play, excellent day, up 8 units, 135% ROI. Both big underdogs hit in NBA. Hornets and Pacers both win. Flyers barely lose a game, almost won. This was a push, the over 7 in Buffalo, Chicago. The Habs, the Canadians win, and the Senators fought back but still lost. Big day because of these lines on here. I actually didn't make as much as this 8 units on these games that I bet because I cashed some of them out early. I didn't cash the Senators, which I actually could have gotten basically $1.05 when that game was tied late, and I didn't. Could have done that, but I didn't, and so I lost that bet completely. But I held on to the Habs. Actually, sorry, I cashed out the Habs for about 1 point, I think it was 65%, something like that. So I did some in-game cash outs. I also did in-game cash out on the Flyers, and I won at 1.5 because they were winning. This is the thing you can do with in-game cash outs is if it looks like your team's going to win, you take this 50% profit while there's time left in the game. And that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, I also cashed out these two for only about 2-1 on both of them. So I ended up only making, as you can see, about 36% on my money, but it was very reliable and it was no stress because a lot of these games I had already cashed out well before they were almost over, and some of them were extremely close. So it was a good day for these picks in general, but it was also a good day for in-game cash outs. That is just, it's really the way to go. I had a bunch of other picks too. I actually made money on the Miami game. Let's go talk about NBA for a second. So Miami was down like 25 points at halftime. I took them to win at like plus 600 or something like that. They started to come back and I cashed out and took 50% profit halfway through the third quarter or something. Did the same thing in the third and the fourth quarter and made another 50%. So even though they lost this game, I made money. Basically, you don't play teams with bad lines. You play teams with really good lines before the game. And the algorithm hit 3 out of 4 underdogs. Bulls almost won too, but it hits Charlotte. It hits Indiana and what overtime it was, I think. And then the Jazz come back to win barely and hold on by 1 point. It's 124 to 123. So this is the current look for NBA. So it's a weird look with the top games losing, but these margins were not that huge. They were over 10%, but they were not much over 10%, 15, 13, and 12. So I mean, when we look at last season's version with last season's stats, it actually looks worse. And so current season definitely had the day today because there's only one underdog that hits in last season's version, and there's 3 that hit in this season's version. So if you made straight bets on everything that the current season said, you did great today by hitting these 3 specifically. And the Bucks hold on to win as well. So interesting day for NBA. Let's take a look at tomorrow because I've already prepared a sample for tomorrow. And we don't have the finalized stats for the day in yet, but this is a preliminary look. Got some huge underdogs on top, or sorry, huge favorites on top. Got a very injured Pelicans here, so this is suspect because they're hurting. Really not much here other than the Wizards over the Celtics, both about the same injury status. That's probably the only bet that I will throw to start the day as one of my cash out bets will be something like this. We could grab that and to put that, basically for tomorrow. Sorry, NBA, Wizards, and 290. So that's the NBA look for yesterday and for a little bit for today on Sunday. Let's talk about NHL. A couple games still going on right now. Calgary's up 2-1 and Seattle's up 2-1. The rest of them, pretty darn good day here too as well. Dallas loses and they were the number 1 pick of the day to start the day. And Ottawa loses as well in a very close game here that turned Florida's way at the end. Actually, Ottawa made a nice comeback to stay in this game. Tampa Bay wins. It was a big win. Buffalo scores a lot of goals late and makes a comeback. I had a live bet on them at plus 830, and they managed to win. Amazing, amazing stuff there. Detroit holds on and beats Minnesota in underdog line. Philly really wanted this game, managed to take it to a tie. It did say it was going to be a tie, actually. It was a tie, 3-3, but Carolina wins it in overtime. Montreal, unbelievable line. Great game, 7-4, big win. Go Martin St. Louis. Toronto doesn't do it. Toronto lets us down like they like to let everybody down. The Islanders come back and beat Colorado. I had the Islanders also at like plus 700 something when they were down 3-1. Took them, they come back to win. Washington hits their goal mark and holds Dallas to no scoring. And these two games are still going on. So pretty darn good day for NHL as well, hitting some underdogs. How about tomorrow or Sunday? It's pretty much in line with the odds makers. You got Toronto, who of course you always want to stay away from Toronto, although they are playing Anaheim, which is a very bad team. Vegas over Winnipeg at minus 200 though. Also Jersey over Columbus at minus 200, which does not seem like a good line at all. Says Chicago pulls this off against Minnesota. They had a lead today, and Stalock's a better goalie than who else was in there for them. They started that guy who was what was his name? Sundstrom? What was that? Soderblom. Soderblom, who was making his first road start, sad because he actually played pretty well, but he did end up losing the game. So here, the only really interesting thing is the Chicago underdog line. That one will probably go on my picks for tomorrow. And also, oddly enough, this is a really close game between Arizona and the Rangers, who have kind of not been playing well the last few weeks. So that's a look at NHL for tomorrow. Let's talk about football. So, big part of the video, right? What are the picks going to be tomorrow? What do we do? I have glanced at the file, and we're going to start going game by game. Does think, of course, that Buffalo beats, let's just look at, what's the Monday game, first of all? Monday, Cincinnati and Cleveland. So we'll leave that off for now. It does favor Cincinnati. That's pretty straightforward. How about the Sunday games? Well, the Sunday games, Buffalo, of course, but the line's awful. And who knows what Rodgers is going to do in this game. They'll probably play it tighter. So unbettable game, in my opinion, especially beforehand. Philly will probably fare a lot better against the Steelers than other teams have fared against the Steelers recently. And they could cover this game, another unbettable game, because of terrible line and terrible point spread. Now we start getting interesting. Detroit, Miami, 88 points. This is because of that crazy game where Detroit played Seattle and Detroit, and there was like 90 points in that game as well. I think it was the only time there was a crazy, crazy score in a game like that. It was nuts. So it's thinking that Detroit manages to win somehow, but what it's really saying is they're clearing it, the highest over of the day, they're clearing it by 36 points. Wow. Just a lack of defense, perhaps defensive injuries. There's all kinds of things going on here. The score did actually go down slightly from what it was earlier in the week, but it's still there. So, I mean, I guess you take the over, even though this is super high. That's what you do. Maybe you take Detroit. I mean, who takes Detroit? They're awful. So I don't know why the algorithm thinks they can actually win this. Just has something to do with their points at home. So it's probably inflating this, and it looks weird, and it should seem to appear weird to us, but maybe the algorithm knows something we don't, or this game will be a little bit more reasonably scored and it'll be tougher to hit the over. So it's a tough game, and I don't want to take Detroit. You should never take Detroit. They're like the Jets used to be. So tough game there. Now, Houston and Tennessee is an interesting situation. It does not give Tennessee credit for scoring very many points, and it shouldn't, because they haven't been scoring very many points. Thinks Houston's actually a better team than most people think. And so I understand what's happening here. Houston is actually favored. That's crazy. It's because of the algorithm. It's the odds makers looking the other. Why else would Houston be favored, right? Tennessee getting no respect. Also, just sneaky tough game, but I mean, Houston's one of those teams like Jacksonville. It seems to blow games late, and I don't like to put my money on them because it really never works out when I'm trying to bet them to win. So I consider this also just a really tough game, and I don't want to play it. Giants over the Seahawks makes more sense as an underdog. They've been playing well. Seattle's woken up and played better recently, but algorithm says that it's more than a field goal, and you can get 3 points with the Giants. So I'm sure I'll start with this in my picks, which will be NFL Giants to win, and maybe on a round robin Giants +3. Okay, next. Patriots and the Jets. Super low scoring game. We got some low scoring games in here today. Very low scoring game. They have a little quarterback controversy, I think, going on. And the Jets, I don't know why it's not giving this game to the Jets, honestly. It's been overestimating the Patriots sometimes. So I don't know. It's the NFL is a really difficult board to read this week. And I keep saying that, but it's true. I'm tempted to want to take the Jets, but I don't want to fight the algorithm on it. -140, it's just right along the lines. It does have an extremely low scoring game, and the over set at 40. So 39.5. So you could consider the under there, but just once again, another tough game. Not as good as like the Giants pick. Atlanta and Carolina. Atlanta can beat Carolina. Carolina came off the schneid and beat Tampa Bay, but we saw what difficulty Tampa Bay is having. So Carolina's still probably not good. Atlanta's been fighting people harder this year. They're -200 though. Look at that 4-point spread. We're not, you wonder the odds makers using this, right? Weird. Minnesota and Arizona. This one's screaming under. 30-point total, 50 over under. Thinks they're a point to this game. Algorithm says absolutely not. Algorithm there's probably healthy defenses in there. Let's see what the defensive situation is. Inside the cube now, we have the defensive injury numbers all the way over here. So in that game, the Arizona game for week 8, we're going to find them here. Okay. And it's saying that, wow, it's saying Arizona actually has 21% injured defense and Minnesota isn't injured at all. So, and the algorithms had tough times with Arizona this year, but doesn't think they put up a lot of points. So some weird stuff going on there, but that is just so far 20 points under the under. You kind of have to go with the under there. Minnesota at home in a dome, right? Well, I mean, it's the lowest projected scoring game of the day, and the over under set at 49. So you just close your eyes and you bet the under there. I think that's what you got to do. Indianapolis and the Commanders. Says Indianapolis wins this game also right about the spread line, 2-3 points, -143. Commanders can lose games. Indianapolis is at home, so that's probably pretty good, even though I don't like this team and I'm a Skins fan. Bears over the Cowboys. Why? They did just upset New England. They're away. They're in Dallas. Quarterback controversy situation. Is Dak playing? Probably. You get 10 points with the Bears. Generally defensive team. So that's a pretty obvious pick, taking them plus 10 points. If you take him to win, I can't believe I would do this, but I guess you're supposed to in the betting strategy that I'm doing, which is when you get a crazy line like this before the game, you take it and you cash out if they get ahead. So we'll throw that on there. But 10 points is much more solid. Next, Niners and Rams. Thinks the Niners can win by 2. They got McCaffrey in there now. Also thinking an under by about 8 points, 7 points. But it is way down here, and it's a field goal type game. Will San Francisco perform? Boy, there's a lot of pressure on them now picking up McCaffrey, but does say they'll win at -110. Raiders and the Saints. Has a tough time predicting the Saints. Also, the Raiders, super close game. Thinks they hit the over, but man, this is right along the line of what the odds makers are saying. And then you have Jacksonville, and I will not take Jacksonville on principle because I believe that defensive guy from a few weeks ago threw the game, and I don't trust his team. So in that case, I'd take Denver at an underdog line is what I would do, because Jacksonville finds ways to lose games. So that's the update, guys. Excellent day. Really excellent day. 3 out of 4 big underdogs is incredible. I mean, you go find, I would like to know if anybody else on YouTube, anybody offering picks, told you to take the Hornets and the Pacers today at these lines. I'd like to know who those people were, because some people can just say, hey, go pick a team. I like this team for whatever reason. We have analytics that are totally reproducible that we're saying play this. and these 3 won and paid amazing prices. So NBA algorithm, I'm ready to go current version the rest of the season. When it starts doing stuff like this, now you understand why I say there's so much value in using the current version earlier on, because the odds makers are working off this. Odds makers and normal people that don't think that the new season stats, they're working off of this. And this did not have a good day. Only had one underdog on here. You lose money betting on these games with last season, and you make a killing betting on this season stats with these teams. So that's the update for Sunday. Good luck, everyone. I hope all your picks won. I'm going to be out all day tomorrow. I'll try to get some picks in early and do a late night video or something and see how it goes. But good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning.